This podcast in the Wry. It's the Wry Podcast. Curt, Fletcher.
Hey, everybody. In the Wry Podcast, episode 79. It's been a couple months since I recorded one, believe it or not. Been busy, right? Been traveling a lot. Let's get off my back. Sick of all the hate emails and stuff. When you bring the podcast back, blah, 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 blah. I never get emails or text messages or anything like that. I do have a new website for the podcast, wrypodcast.com. I also have some stickers. If you want to buy some Curt Fletcher logo stickers and some other stickers, I can't remember what I have on there, but if you go to funnyfletcher.com, click on merch, got some stickers on there from Sticker Mule. You can buy them if you want, and I can make money. That'd be pretty cool. I usually give away stickers for free at my shows, so that's a good way to get them also. I also have my schedule on there, my tour dates. Well, tour date, I don't know. I don't have a ton of shows, but I got a lot of local gigs coming up. Talk about them real quick. August 24th, the Hops and Dough Tap Room here in Albuquerque. September 6th at the Tractor Brewery. That's going to be an anniversary show. It's going to be a really good lineup. September 13th at the Brew Lab, Rio Rancho. September 14th, I'll be headlining the Sunday Service Motor Company. And that's on a Saturday. Don't get that confused just because the word Sunday is in the venue name. It's on a Saturday. And then in October, I go to Canada. October 21st through the 26th, I will be in Calgary headlining the Comedy Cave, which I'm pretty excited about. I've never been to Canada. Hopefully I can make those people laugh. I'm pretty excited, kind of nervous. Mostly excited, though. And then October 23rd, I have my comedy special coming out on Open Bar, which is going to be on YouTube. Just like a 30-minute special I recorded in February at Looney's in Colorado Springs. Pretty excited to see how it turned out. Should be fun. A couple of weeks ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe, it was the 4-year anniversary of this podcast. I know what you're thinking. 4 years and you're only on episode 79. Yeah. I know. I'm lazy, all right? Get over it. Yeah, 4 years. Pretty cool. I guess. I don't know. Nothing too exciting about it. But on August 5th, the other day, I celebrated my 23-year comedy anniversary, which is pretty cool. I actually still have some posters from my 20-year show. If anyone wants one, just send me a few bucks and I could ship it to you. I don't know how many I got left, but it's probably a decent amount. Because I didn't sell very many at the show. I don't think, anyway. I don't know. I don't remember. It's a few years ago. But I do have some. You can kind of see it over there in the corner there. I could move my... I'll just put up a picture. Or whatever. I don't know. It's covered up by the logo. Yeah, so 23 years in comedy. Pretty crazy. Been able to work with a lot of pretty cool people over the years. I made a list of some of my favorite, more well-known comedians that I worked with. I guess we'll talk about, where should I start? Brian Posehn was one of my favorites. You guys know who Brian Posehn is, don't you? Yeah, you do. It's kind of cool. I already had tickets to see Brian. He was performing here at the Route 66 Casino just outside of Albuquerque. Already had tickets to see him, and then got a phone call that week from some guy And he said, "Hey, is this Curt Fletcher?" I was like, "Yep." He goes, "What are you doing Friday?" I was like, "Who is this?" And he said his name and said he worked for Route 66 Casino. And I said, "Well, that's weird because I'm going to Route 66 Casino Friday to see Brian Posehn." And he said, "You want to open for him?" I said, "Yeah, I do." So he's like, "All right, I'll see." Or he asked how much money I wanted. I was like, "I don't know." I was already planning on going to the show. I don't care. I don't care if I make money or not, And then he told me a number. He's like, "All right, I'll see if I can get you that." I was like, "Cool." And then he called me back a couple minutes later. He's like, "All right, you're opening for Brian. You're getting that amount, blah, blah, blah. Do 20 minutes. So did 20 minutes. Opened for Brian. Awesome show. That's pretty cool. I was going to school at the time too, which was kind of cool. And I didn't tell a lot of people in my class that I was a comedian. So there were a few people in one of my classes that were at the show. And then they told everybody I was a comedian. I kind of hated that, but oh well, I guess. So yeah, Brian was cool. I worked with Jim Norton once. I got to open for him at the National Hispanic Cultural Center here in Albuquerque. That was probably the second biggest show I've ever done, like crowd size wise. I don't know. There's a lot of people. Probably, I don't know how many people that hold. So I remember looking it up once. I think it was something like 700 or 800 or something like that. That was a lot of fun. I just did a 10-minute set, and he thought I was funny, so that was cool. And he's a nice dude. Didn't get to talk to him a whole bunch, but talked to him a little bit backstage before the show, and then after walking off stage, he said I was funny. So pretty good time. Let's see, Jeff Dye. He's a pretty well-known guy now. I worked with him at the Des Moines Funny Bone. He was super nice. He really liked one of my jokes. He said that I can't remember exactly what he said, but he had nice things to say about it. I remember that. But he's really funny. If you haven't seen him, go check him out. Harland Williams. Pretty sure I've talked about him on the podcast before. I did a guest set with him at the Tempe Improv, and he was super nice. I'd met him before at Laughs in Albuquerque. He came in 2 nights in a row. They were filming Employee of the Month in town. So he did a couple of sets that week that he came in and was super nice. Worked with Finesse Mitchell, who was on Saturday Night Live. Worked with him at the Denver Improv. He was super nice. He was telling me I should get into acting and stuff, but I never did it. I mean, I did some acting, but never went to LA or anything like that or whatever. Worked with Kyle Kinane, who's one of my favorites. Worked with him at that was also at the National Hispanic Cultural Center in Albuquerque. It was in the smaller room, though, so it wasn't as big of a crowd. Plus, it was on a Tuesday night, so it was not like super packed, but it was cool to work with him. And Josh Blue, I've worked with a few times. I used to live in Denver. I always like telling this story about Josh. All right, I have a couple funny Josh Blue stories, which I've probably told on here before, but one of them was when I was hosting at the Denver Comedy Works on the new talent night, and Josh was headlining. And this newbie comic came in, and he said he was going to go on stage in just his underwear. And I was like, you probably shouldn't do that. You should probably have some jokes. And he just went up there in his underwear anyway, and was pretty embarrassed. And Josh came backstage. He's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I was like, I don't know. I told him not to do it. And then Josh took his clothes and chucked them outside. It's pretty funny. So the dude goes up on stage and eats shit for 2 minutes and then comes backstage and can't find his clothes. had to go outside to find him. So that was pretty funny. And then the other funny story was we're working at Hyenas in Dallas, and in the middle of a set, some lady just yelled, "I love you, Josh," and he goes, "Thank you, sir." And everybody laughed, except for that lady. Apparently, she was crying in the bathroom after that. I ran into her husband in the lobby, and he said she was crying in the bathroom, and like I don't know, he didn't know what to do. It was kind of funny. So I told Josh about when he got off stage, was setting up his merch and stuff. And I was telling him what happened. He's like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah." So I see the lady come out of the bathroom, and she walked over to Josh, and she said something to him, but I didn't hear what she said. But Josh kind of like grabbed her shoulders, like he's like, "Sir, calm down." And she flipped the fuck out and walked out. That was pretty funny. Felt bad for the dude because I don't know. He knew it was clearly a joke, but for some reason she did not. Yeah, Josh has always been cool to work with. At the Dallas Hyenas, I also worked with Carl LeBove. If you don't know who Carl LeBove is, he was Sam Kinnison's best friend. And I had never met Carl before these shows. And I was kind of nervous to work with him, because he, Sam Kinison was one of my favorites growing up. And I don't know, he just, he was his best friend. So he knew everything about Sam. And, well, not everything. But yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if he was going to be a dick or not. And I didn't get a chance to talk to him before the show. He got there while I was on stage, I think, or something. I don't know. Anyways, the first show, though, when I got off stage, he was like the first person that greeted me when I got off stage. Said I was really funny, and it was super nice. And he went up and just crushed for like an hour. And then we got to chat a little bit after the show and between shows. And super nice guy. And then second show, he goes up and does a completely different hour and crushes. And that was pretty impressive. Maybe one day I'll get to that level. That'd be cool. Yeah, he was great. He passed away a few years ago. Let's see. Ismo, if you guys heard of him, he's from another country. I don't remember which one. It's like Finland or Poland, maybe. Finland. Yeah, I was right. I looked it up. If you haven't seen him, he's got a lot of really funny material. He does a lot of stuff about different words, like in the English language. Like he can do 15 minutes just about the word shit, and it's super funny. I got to open for him in Wichita at the Looney Bin there. It's just like he was there on a Wednesday night. I just happened to be featuring there that week, so I got to do a set with him. It's pretty awesome. Let's see, Theo Vaughn. Known Theo for years. First time I worked with him was, I think, 2011 or 2012. I forget what year, but it was in Oklahoma City at the Looney Bin. And me and him got to stay in the house together all week. It was Wednesday through Sunday. Pretty fun. He had a website at the time that he would prank people on Craigslist. He would put like fake posts on there. And then he had a phone like just for these pranks. And then he would put like all the pranks up on this website. And we would stay up till like 4 or 5 in the morning, like just goofing around and writing stuff. And I would be reading a bunch of stuff from the website, just laughing a bunch. That was cool. We kept in touch a little bit over the years. I think in 2016, maybe 17. think 2016. I did a guest set with him at the Addison Improv. And then a few years ago in Albuquerque, I got to do a guest set when he performed at the Kiva Auditorium, which is the biggest show I've ever done. Probably a couple thousand people in there, close to a couple thousand at least. So yeah, Theo's always been cool. He's always been one of my favorite comics to work with, watch and stuff. Always try to watch his podcast. Chad Daniels is another guy I really liked. Kept in touch with him over the years too, even though I haven't seen him in like 16 years probably. But I used to hang out with him. He would come here to Albuquerque, perform at Laughs, and then I got to work with him a couple weeks on the road at the Looney Bins in Oklahoma City and Wichita. He stole my Baconator. I told that story before. He's got a new Netflix special out, though. It just came out on the 16th of July. Empty Nester, it's called. Go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. He's one of my favorites. He's got 10 albums out, 10 specials, which is crazy. And they're all awesome. He's definitely one of my favorites. Let's see, Dennis Blair is a dude I got to work with. Dennis Blair I saw in 2003 opening for George Carlin. And after Carlin died, Dennis started doing headline spots by himself, And I was lucky enough to work with him in Fort Wayne, Indiana. What was the room called? Snickers, I think, at the time. Pretty sure. But that was cool. I wanted to ask him a bunch of questions about George Carlin, but I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to bug him. So when we went to do a radio interview, he was going to the bathroom or something. So I asked the radio DJ if he'd ask him a bunch of George Carlin questions, so I wouldn't have to. So that was pretty cool. So he told some Carlin stories, and that was pretty awesome. He also wrote a book. I forget the name of it. I got it somewhere. I don't see it around right now, but a lot of cool stories in there about opening for Rodney Dangerfield and Carlin and a bunch of famous musicians and stuff like that. So Dennis Blair, look it up. It's pretty good. Another dude I really like is Dusty Slay. Met him when I was working in Tulsa at the Looney Bin. He was one of my favorite comics that I got to see in the time working there. A lot of times you get tired of watching the comics act because when I was working there, I'd see 6 shows a week, and he was one of the few that I'd actually enjoy watching all 6 shows. So that's pretty cool, and I got to hang out with him pretty recently. He was in here at Quesada's Comedy Club. It was in late June, so that was cool. Got to see his new stuff he's working on for his next special, and hang out with him for a little bit. So that's it. I don't know. I've worked with some other famous comics, but I don't know. I don't want this to go too long, so. Yeah, I haven't recorded an episode since May, late May. So in June, I went out to Texas for about a week and a half or so. I was out there. Got to stay with my buddy John. It's cool to hang out with him. It's hot as shit, though. Yeah, the first night I got into town, I flew into town. We went to see Bowling for Soup at the Lava Cantina, which is a super cool venue. I've seen them twice there now. They were doing they were having their anniversary weekend. I think Friday night they did their 30-year anniversary show. Saturday night, the show I went to, they were doing a 20-year anniversary for their album, Hangover You Don't Deserve. So they did the entire album, start to finish, and then closed out some other songs. They're actually on tour doing that album right now. Well, actually, they just ended the first leg of the tour, but they're coming to Albuquerque, October 27. Yeah. Hopefully, I'll be able to fly back from Canada in time to catch that. Probably should. I don't know. Never flown to Canada. So yeah, that was a cool show. I was supposed to work at Dallas Hyenas with Punky Johnson, and she ended up bringing her own feature act, so I got bumped from that. But I still got paid, and I got to see, catch a show for free anyway, so I got to see Punky Johnson, and that was pretty cool. So the following week, I worked at the Dallas Club with Sarah Colonna, who's super funny. I'd always known who she was. I saw her on Harlan Williams' podcast before. So it's cool to actually get to work with her. She was really funny, super nice. Her husband was super nice. He was at the shows. Super nice guy, even though he beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl. He was playing for the Seahawks. He was a punter, so I don't think he got to play much in that game, but still kind of cool. He won a Super Bowl. It's pretty nice. July was fun. I got a co-headline at Quesada's Comedy Club with my buddy Jake Otero. Josh Fournier hosted those shows. We just did a Friday night, and we just flip-flopped the headlining spots, which was pretty cool. If you haven't been to a show at Quesada, it's pretty awesome. Seats about 300 people or so. Beautiful showroom. Just awesome. Like the backstage area is really cool. The green room's nice. The staff's awesome. Security guards are great. Just cool, having a good sized club like that here in New Mexico. We also have Dry Heat Comedy Club downtown. If you haven't been to that, they actually moved locations, so it's a little bigger. I don't know what the capacity is on the new one. The old one, I think, was like 40-ish. 40 to 45, which was cool, and it was like kind of cramped in there, which isn't bad, when you're performing. But the new location's great. I don't know how many people they can fit in there, but it's cool. I got to perform there for the first time. And had an awesome show. It was a stacked lineup. It's pretty cool. So that was a lot of fun performing there. If you ever get a chance to perform there or go there, check it out. And then I got a headline at the Nob Hill stage, this little coffee shop. Me and Eddie Stevens did a set over there. It's kind of nice to get a headline spot in before my Iowa trip. I did 3 headline sets in Iowa. I was in Iowa from July 17th to August 1st, so got to do some shows, visit some family. Sadly, my Aunt Sherry passed away while we were up there, but we did get to say hi to her and stuff before she passed away. We went to visit her in the hospital and then in the hospice house and stuff like that. But yeah, it was sad. I hadn't seen her in a long time, and we got to see my Uncle Jim and my cousin Dave help out with some of the funeral stuff and things like that. So if you're the praying type, throw in some prayers for my cousin Dave, my Uncle Jim. They've been having kind of tough couple weeks. Got to see a lot of family on this trip, which was nice. I got to see a lot of my cousins' kids that I never really got to know before. So that was kind of cool. They're all like teenagers and going to school and stuff and graduating and things like that. So it makes me feel old. All my cousins are all having kids that are going to college and stuff like that, and high school. My daughter just turned 22 a couple weeks ago too, so I'm pretty old. The shows in Iowa were a lot of fun though. That was I got to perform in Britt, Mason City, and Clarion. I was supposed to do one in Clive, which is just outside of Des Moines, but Alex Hooper, who was supposed to headline, got stuck at the Atlanta airport for, I don't know, 16 hours or something like that. Poor dude. So they ended up canceling that show. But all the other 3 shows, I got a headline and just kind of do whatever I wanted and tried a lot of new material out and got some good stuff out of it. So that was cool. Got to see a lot of friends too. Did a show in Clarion, which is my hometown. You know, I lived there for 8 years, and got to see a lot of people that I hadn't seen since high school. That's pretty crazy. Didn't recognize some of them. Had to ask people who they were and stuff like that. But yeah, they treated me good up there. It was really cool. I actually got to perform outside, which was pretty awesome. I actually blocked off the street and set up a little stage out there, so that was cool. And then Mason City was cool. It was my friend's bar. My friend Melissa and her brother Matt Evans. He's always been a good friend of mine. He's always one of the funniest people I knew. So he, when I started doing comedy, I asked him to kind of help me write some stuff or come up with ideas, and so he was definitely willing to do that. He was like making people laugh, so that was pretty cool. I got to see him at the show, and he brought his son, which was cool. And his son's a big dude. He's only like 12 years old, and he's huge, way bigger than me. But that was a lot of fun. Got to see another kid I went to school with in Clarion that moved away in 6th grade, and a couple other people I knew. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun shows. We had a little family barbecue, which was nice. Me and my cousin, or cousins, went to this thing. They were having the county fair was happening while we were up there. So we went to see. I always do like pretty redneck things when I hang out with my cousins. Pretty fun. We went and saw this thing. It's called Tough Trucks. Where these people basically take their old shitty trucks and like knock out all the windows and lights and stuff like that, and mirrors, and then just race in the mud. And it rained pretty bad, so that made it more exciting. So it was cool. It got pretty cold, but it was fun to watch. There's a lot of bush light happening. Actually, I almost got in a fight with a guy at Casey's one night. Casey's is like the gas station. It has awesome pizza and stuff. Well, this guy was walking out of Casey's, and he's holding a 6-pack of Busch Light and had some pizza. And my nephew had a can of Liquid Death. And my cousin didn't know what that was. So I was like, oh, it's basically water in a can. And the guy turns around. He thought I was talking about his Busch Light. People don't like when you talk shit about their Busch Light in Iowa. But, oh, man. So, yeah, that trip was a lot of fun. I had to get back home to, I missed my aunt's funeral, unfortunately. I had to come back and had a show in Colorado, Montrose, Colorado, with AJ Martinez, who was on episode 78. I had a fun little trip up there. Just drove up there through the mountains and stuff, and we had a pretty fun show. It was one of the weirdest crowds. So I had a lady almost die during my set. I just finished doing a couple jokes about Jesus, and then I look over and this lady is just laying back in her chair and her mouth's wide open. She looked really pale, and I was like, is that lady okay? They're like, yeah, she's fine. They're like, I don't know. She didn't seem fine to me. She looked dead to me. And so I kept checking on her throughout the show. She was just out, and she wasn't moving. And I don't know. So I found out later that I guess she puked and then passed out. And the reason she was so pale is because she's from Minnesota. So the poor lady, she had a couple drinks and passed out. And, but yeah, she has kidney cancer. And I guess her husband, I guess it was, traveling around the country just visiting people while she's going through that. So she came to the comedy show and almost died. But I'm glad she didn't. But yeah, that was kind of a scary moment. I was just like, I don't know. I should keep telling jokes right now, you know? I don't know how to transition back into being funny after seeing a lady almost die. But the rest of the show went okay. So nobody seemed too worried about it. There was a doctor there. Everyone said she was fine. So it worked out all right. We had a fun little trip. It was a nice drive. You know, got to chat with AJ a lot, which is cool. He's one of my favorite people. Very funny too. Also, you know, he's just too. Also, I'm a fucking idiot. Anyways, yeah, I ain't got shit else to say. You know, I've got some shows. If you want to go to a show, check out funnyfletcher.com. Click on schedule. I'll have my shows updated there. Mostly local stuff right now, except for Canada. I'm always adding shows on, so that's it. As always, thanks to Jarrett Reddick for the intro music. Go see Bowling for Soup on tour. Thanks to John Singleton from Anesthesia for the outro music. Check out the Anesthesia's new EP out now. I forgot the name of it. I'm gonna Chasing the Moon, I think is what it's called. I'm gonna double check though. Chasing the Moon. That's what it is. Check it out. 4-song EP. Awesome stuff. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Talk to you next time. Probably in a couple months back.